back and thanks for staying with us. Now we are bringing you all the crucial details about Prime Minister Modi's critical visit to United States for that official state visit to the country. Now we are continuing to bring you all the latest developments from the ground as well and all the exclusive details. Let's dive right into all the details and developments coming in. CNN News 18's Abhishek Jha continues to be with me on the broadcast. Abhishek, how do you assess the current state of relationship between US and India, and what sort of impact this particular visit is going to have on strengthening of the bilateral ties between the two countries?
In the last 2 decades, at least, if we don't go very far into the history, in the last 2 decades, at least, we have seen a lot of changes happening into the India-US bilateral relationship. Currently, the India-US bilateral trade stands somewhere at $190 billion. That is less than $200 billion. And both the countries have expressed opinion that this is not matching the kind of potential that India and US has. There is of course, 4 million about Indian diaspora who are living in USA, and their contributor as part of overall USA society in terms of government institution. There are Indians who are at the senior level, politicians, doctors, physicians, academics, scientists in US top-notch institutions, including NASA. So clearly, Indians living in USA are a great connector or great bridge between the two societies, where they are being contributed to each other also. There is about $50 billion of US investment that is in India that directly creates about 1 million jobs, and about $40 billion of Indian investment is indirectly in USA that creates about 4.25 lakh or more than 400,000 jobs in USA. So clearly, these two countries, when they are coming together, they are trying to contribute to their society, their economy, their polity, and their overall day-to-day living as well. So that is the major shift that has happened between the two countries, ever since this, I would say, the Vajpayee era government started, and the George W. Bush or the Bill Clinton, era started, the coming closer of these two countries. Now, talking about the current challenges, there are challenges of Russia-Ukraine crisis. There are challenges of Taiwan Strait crisis. There are challenges of global economic architecture falling down. There are challenges of a resilient supply chain that can be established at the world. Ever since the dominance of China, that has been now well accepted, but then well feared also, because Chinese supply chain or Chinese manufacturing are now being turned into a weaponizing an instrument of influence in other parts of the world as well. So world is increasingly trying to distance itself from being heavily invested and focused in Chinese manufacturing, and they are trying to find alternatives around the world, and India can be that alternative which can provide them with a cheaper labor solution, that can provide with them overall manufacturing ecosystem and scaled up capacity as well. If we are currently talking about the semiconductor manufacturing, then the world cannot ignore India, because if they want semiconductors for their manufacturing, and the way automation is increasing in every walk of our life, then clearly the kind of the amount or the volume of manufacturing of semiconductors are needed. India can become a very crucial partner in that, where investment and expertise coming from abroad and the skill set and the labor from India can provide alternative for the Chinese and the Taiwanese manufacturing capacity, and that is something that the US is currently looking at, investing in India and sharing technology. And I remember sharing critical technology that we are currently talking about is something that comes after a lot of trust and common and shared values are ensured between the two sides. And here, if USA is trying to share, or USA is willing to share technologies, that too in high-end areas, in bio pharma, in space, in semiconductor manufacturing, defense, then clearly that tells a lot about the kind of deep trust that these two countries have created around this situation, and the common and the shared challenges they feel that they need to work together to counter that.
Well, Abhishek, I would request you to please hold on, because CNN News 18's Abhishek Sharma is also joining me live on the broadcast. Aman, a very good morning to you. Aman, since yesterday, Foreign Secretary Vinay Kwatra also talked about the agenda that is pretty much same to what the G20 presidency is going to be showing. What can be expected, from this crucial meeting, and about the South global issues as well that are going to be on the table or not?
I think we're very important to put Mr. Modi's visit to the US in the correct perspective. This is the first time an Indian PM is addressing the US Congress twice. He's the second Indian PM to have the honor of a US state visit, and he's only the third global leader who's receiving a state visit invitation from President Biden. These are the important points of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit, which he's embarking upon very shortly from India, and we'll be landing in New York. The two-leg tour, going first to New York and then to Washington. The whole program is spread over 4 days. In a way, a very, very historic visit. The scale of it and the importance of it, if we see how the US has also treated this visit in perhaps putting it in the highest bracket of a state visit. Mr. Modi has been Prime Minister for 9 years, and he has been to the US at least half a dozen times before this. But this is the first time an official state visit was announced for the Prime Minister, and this is in the year that we will be going to elections, in the general election. So in a way, US also putting the relationship with India at the highest pedestal. The Bidens are going to devote almost 3 days for the Prime Minister. There's the remarkable things which are being done by the Bidens, for this visit. Not just of course, the ceremonial welcome and the state dinner is there, but even the private dinner by the Bidens is being organized for Prime Minister Narendra Modi the day he lands in Washington. And we'll all see those visuals when he lands in New York and leads the International Yoga Day celebration, which will also be a big statement by India on the global stage, because over 180 member countries of the UN, nearly every country in the world will be represented at that International Yoga Day event. And this is a Yoga Day event, we must remember, has also come about, the International Day Yoga event, upon the proposal of Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2014, when UN recognized June 21st as the International Day of Yoga. Going ahead, I think Prime Minister visit to the US will have various landmarks. We are starting, of course, with even in New York, he's after he lands later today, he's meeting a number of thought leaders, accommodations, Nobel laureates, one-to-one meetings with groups. Post that, tomorrow he does yoga at the UN, and then he leaves for Washington, where he's also having a series of meetings. He's meeting top CEOs of the US. He's having this diaspora event. He's going to the Kennedy Center. The ceremonial welcome could be like not we've seen earlier. There'll be Indian diaspora also in the greeting him in the lawns of the White House. And the bilateral statements, of course, big takeaways are expected in the terms of defense cooperation, which the foreign secretary also stressed upon yesterday in his press conference, that a lot is being looked upon on how defense companies from both sides can cooperate and speak to each other, share technology. Of course, we've all heard about the jet engine deal. If it goes through in this visit of the PM, it could be because that jet engine deal has also almost been in the works for almost over 12 years. If Mr. Modi can deliver this in the final term of his second government, this could be a major takeaway from the entire visit of the Prime Minister. And of course, his bilaterals and the whole delegation level talks will thrash out that formula. And already we had 3 top visits by the US officials to India. The Secretary of State was here in the last 1 month. The US NSA was here. So clearly, a lot of groundwork and a lot of, I would say, finalization towards that deal has been done, which will be a landmark, because we also have our Tejas aircraft, and we are desperately looking for engines for our aircraft so that we can build them here. And as far as we believe, the USA has agreed to transfer 80% TOT, transfer of technology, for the production of those jet engines in India, which could be a big, big deal if it goes through and is announced.